The more people that use Blue Voter Guide, the higher it's going to drive turnout and the more close elections we're going to be able to win.
Hello, and welcome to the Politics Girl podcast. I'm your host, Lee McGowan. Let's get into it. Looking around the country right now with the chaos at the congressional hearings and bomb threats for judges and women dying of treatable pregnancy complications and the sickening, blatant racism on right-wing media, I hope people can see how much is on the line with the 2024 election. I know in many ways it seems like the election is a terrifying game of Russian roulette, where we're forced to play and there's nothing we can do, and the future of American democracy will come down to a handful of people in a handful of states. And in some ways that's true, so it's essential that we concentrate on those battleground states. But we also have to realize that complacent voters and non-voters and people who forget to vote have so much more power than they know. There are so many people who think their vote doesn't matter because their state goes one way or another. But by not voting, you're essentially giving away your power, throwing up your hands and allowing your state to continue to not represent you. I understand the game is rigged in many ways, but that doesn't mean there's nothing we can do. And if we don't do something, then in 2024, we will have the tipping point that will rig the game permanently, and we will really lose our chance to turn the tide. The thing is, the more voters that turn out, the more powerful our votes become. The last presidential election had the highest voter turnout in the 21st century, with 66.8% of citizens over 18 years old voting in the election. I want you to consider that by November 2024, almost 41 million 18 to 24-year-olds will now be eligible to vote. That's 8 million more than in the 2022 midterms. These are election-changing numbers, trend-changing numbers. These are numbers that could turn red states to blue states if they voted on the issues that really mattered to them, like the right to an abortion, bodily autonomy, respect for the LGBTQ community, freedom to marry who you want, the gun violence epidemic, the future of our environment, and the right to affordable education, housing, and healthcare. And you don't even have to be a young voter. Look at the turnout by state. A state like Minnesota had almost 80% of the electorate come out to vote in the 2020 presidential election, while Oklahoma only had 55% come out. Texas came out at 60%, but their attorney general was caught on tape saying his actions to limit mail-in ballots in highly Democratic areas was what won the election for the Republicans. And whether that's true or not, the question is, could a state like Texas turn blue if 20% more people simply came out to vote? I believe that's entirely possible. We literally don't know what the Electoral College map would look like if we all voted like Minnesota. The bottom line is, our votes still count, so it's essential we use them. And it's never been more essential than it will be in 2024. So how do we get people to vote? Well, first of all, we keep talking about it. We get people registered, and we can do that through websites like vote.gov or in person at local DMVs or armed forces recruitment centers or state and county public assistance offices, places where someone might get SNAP or food stamps. There's also local groups that will help you get registered, or national groups like Field Team 6 that I highly recommend helping you. If you're a U.S. citizen living abroad, or an expat or a service member, the Federal Voting Assistance Program will let you register and vote. And I would personally recommend Democrats Abroad, who help with all the steps you need to make sure your voice is heard. But even if you're already registered, even if you are already ready to vote, we can still make actual voting easier, make it less trouble, less time, less complicated, which is why I have invited Wayne Liebman to join us today to talk about how we do that. Wayne is the founder of the Blue Voter Guide. A physician and playwright, Wayne was like many of us whose sense of the world was really shaken by the results of the 2016 presidential election. His response was to take an early retirement from medicine and become a full-time political organizer. So in 2017, Wayne co-founded SoCal Blue, which worked to unite Southern California's grassroots activists with the Democratic Party infrastructure. His goal was to make the two groups work more cohesively together, and his success made SoCal Blue the model for coalition building. So much so that the work that they did resulted in flipping 5 Republican-held congressional seats in 2018. Following that success, Wayne became the director of operations for Field Team 6, partnering with Jason Berlin, who we have had on the show, and Dale Robinson to grow the organization into the national voter registration powerhouse it is today, helping register over 2 million Democrats. Those numbers were an essential part of what helped us win the Democratic trifecta in 2020 and hold off the 2022 perceived red wave. In 2018 and 2020, SoCal Blue featured a one-page grid on its website to show the endorsements from progressive groups for various California ballot propositions. It was the success of this grid, which was a way to help people make quick, informed, pro-democracy decisions on their ballot, that the idea for the Blue Voter Guide was born. After building a team of 100 volunteers, Wayne was able to put the Blue Voter Guide into 9 battleground states in 2022 and then add 8 more states in 2023. By the 2024 presidential election, the Blue Voter Guide will be in all 50 states. As Wayne says, political campaigns center on specific candidates and measures. The Blue Voter Guide shifts that focus to the voters and solves their number one problem, which is ballot confusion, the thing that stops most people from voting. The Blue Voter Guide not only helps voters make informed choices up and down the ballot, it makes the entire process quick and easy, which drives up turnout. And as I said before, when turnout is up, wins are up. So without further ado, please welcome doctor, playwright, and now full-time political organizer and founder of the Blue Voter Guide, Wayne Liebman. Welcome, Wayne.
Thank you. Great to be here, Lee.
Oh, well, thanks for joining me. But more importantly, thank you for making the Blue Voter Guide. You've taken this one-page cheat sheet about California ballot propositions and you've turned it into a full-fledged 50-state progressive organization. So please tell us what inspired you to do that?
In a word, voter confusion. That was 2 words. When SoCal Blue had just started in Southern California, which was an event hub for thousands of volunteers, a lot of people emailed us and said, these ballot confusions in California are really confusing. Could you do something about that? California has an incredible mess with the way corporate donors come in and buy ballot initiatives to rewrite laws and spend a lot of money, and they put out a lot of confusing advertising. So what we did was we created this one page on the SoCal Blue website, and every row was a ballot proposition, and every column was a progressive organizer. So it was a grid, and we just ticked off the grid, say yes, no, depending on support. So you could look across the grid and you could see in an instant who was behind a particular measure and whether you might want to support it or not. And this was like incredibly popular. Thousands of people used it. They wrote us about it. They said, this is fantastic. You've got to do this again. So we did it in 2018. We did it in 2020. And then we got the harebrained idea, well, maybe we could do this for the whole ballot in California. So that's what got us started on Blue Voter Guide.
It's such a great idea because, as you said, it is confusion and people do get completely overwhelmed. They look at that ballot and they go like, oh my God, this is 700 pages long. I don't know who any of these people are. I don't know what these ballots are supposed to mean. These propositions are deliberately written to confuse me. And you think it's a myth that people sit out elections because they don't think their vote is important. You think the opposite is true, that a lot of people avoid voting because they think it's too important and they're afraid they're going to screw it up. So potentially there's like hundreds of thousands of people out there, especially young people, who skip voting because they're afraid to make a mistake. And I have to say, I can see where you're coming from on that because I think it's fair to say that I'm an informed voter, but I have definitely felt that way over the years about things like judges and AGs and certain propositions, right? Like I always really, really research the propositions. I try to seek endorsements from people I trust, which is why you guys are organizing like this. But when it comes to commissioners and judges and school board members, in the past, I have left people blank because I don't want to choose the wrong person. And then I don't want to think that maybe this choice I made is responsible for putting the wrong person in power and then they end up doing damage to other people. And so I just figured I'll just leave these one blank because I'll leave it to the people who know better than me to decide. But then I'm ultimately giving up my vote. If I'd had a resource like yours, I never would have done that, right? Like having something like the Blue Voter Guide isn't just for first-time voters. I mean, whether you're experienced in politics or not, most of us don't have days or even hours to do the research that's necessary to make these educated choices on everything that ends up on our ballot. And in this case, you and your volunteers are doing that legwork for us so that we can be confident that we're making the right choices that align with our values without it taking too much of our time. I mean, ultimately, you kept hearing that people needed help, that they were confused, so you created something to help them.
Yeah, and you are not alone. They did a deep dive study of the 100 million people who could have voted but didn't vote in the 2016 election, right? More people than voted for Voldemort, more people than voted for Hillary. The non-voters won the election. And they found that a huge number, especially of young people, simply would skip voting, skip an election, or skip voting entirely if they weren't sure. And I think that they've studied it, and I think in that generation, it's the school mentality where, I don't want to get it wrong on the exam, so they're very intimidated. And we have run into this. We have there are groups in California that have been canvassing in the Central Valley, trying to get people to register, and they've encountered a lot of young people that did not even want to register to vote. And so they started taking postcards with a QR code for Blue Voter Guide on voter registration drives and giving them to these people and say, we have your back. Save this postcard, point your phone at this QR code when it's time to vote, and it's going to make the job much easier for you. And they were able to increase their registrations because of it. So it's a real thing.
And I mean, that aligns with your mission, right? You're saying the mission of the Blue Voter Guide is to increase turnout by making voting easier. And I mean, that makes so much sense to me because I have used other voter guides in the past, mostly deeply researched lists from people I trust that I end up cross-referencing with other lists that are, filled with endorsers to make sure I was making the correct choices. But what would you say makes the Blue Voter Guide unique from these other lists, other than you're making it accessible to the entire country and not just to people's close personal friends?
Right. Well, the first thing that's the most important is that it's endorsement driven. You see the endorsements when you put your address. You see all the endorsements of all the candidates and measures that you can vote for, and you get an instant X-ray of what the support is. And it doesn't matter quite so much at the very top of the ballot. I mean, you're going to vote for Biden, for example, despite the endorsement. But as you start moving down ballot, you get more and more confusion. You see judges, you don't know who these people are. You might as well just throw darts. All kinds of things, especially independents, where you have to list all the independents and you don't even know, are they Republican, are they Democrat, or whatever. So that's the first thing, is the endorsements, because of the breadth of the endorsements, because it's not just one piece of campaign literature coming to you from one campaign saying, vote for our candidate. You're not relying on one person, on one endorser. You can use the wisdom of crowds. So that's the other thing that's really powerful about that. The other thing that makes Blue Voter Guide unique is that we're blue. We are partisan. We are interested in electing people who want other people to do better. Every level, we want those candidates elected who want people to do better. And that's what blue really is. It's the late Paul Wellstone of Minnesota really said it. He said, we all do better when we all do better. And that's what I think blue is. So we are partisan. You cannot even vote. Of course, you're not voting with Blue Voter Guide. It's a guide. You're creating a guide that you take with you. But you can't tick off Republicans. There's a little bar that says Republican, and if you click on it, it'll show you the names of the people because we have everybody there. But you can't tick them off. We don't put any endorsements there for them. We are endorsing Democrats, and we are endorsing progressive independents. When you get to the independent races, you see all the candidates and you see all the endorsements there. Because we're not centered on campaigns and we're not centered on specific candidates, we are specifically centered on voters and their needs. Blue Voter Guide is a campaign for voters, and we do it simply. We do one thing. We do it really well. We're not trying to be all things to all people. And I think that's why people who use Blue Voter Guide, they really love it. So that's what makes us unique.
Oh, no doubt.
Everything.
Honestly, no doubt, Wayne, because I know that at election time, I sometimes have a stack of, flyers that have come to my door telling me who's endorsing who. And And it takes hours to just go through, oh, this person, I have little piles of this is a school board. And I think no one else is doing this. Like no one else is nerding out on the floor here with all of their endorsements coming from things so I can cross-reference things. And I think that's kind of the point. Like you're not bogging down voters with too much information. You're simply presenting easy to navigate overview of who supports whom on the ballot, right? And if people want to take a deeper dive into the organizations or the candidates or the propositions themselves, that information is also there. But the goal is to make it easy as possible for voters to make smart and quick decisions. So who does all the work? I mean, you purchase your candidate data from a national vendor, and then what?
There are 100,000 elections in this country, and there are overlapping districts that drive you crazy. You're probably in 5 or 6 different districts, depending on what level you're voting at. So we have to buy that data. That's election data. That's gathered, as you said, by a national vendor, and we pay for that. And that is our cost. That's the thing that we raise money for, to pay for that. So the way Blue Voter Guide works is when you type in your address, Blue Voter Guide immediately pinpoints where you are. It checks with Google. It goes to Google and it goes through the Google API, and it says, okay, this is the geolocation. Then we send that to the vendor, or our data vendor, and our data vendor then returns all of the elections that you can vote in. Now, previously, also on the back end of Blue Voter Guide, we have loaded in all of the work that we have done to find the endorsers for the various candidates. So that's mixed in. And what appears on the screen then is your ballot that you can vote for, everything. You can go as far down ballot as we can go. We are assured by our data vendor that their intention is to cover every race. They are not there yet, and I don't think they're going to quite be there in 2024, but better and better and more down ballot. And we also have the ability on the back end of Blue Voter Guide to actually, if there's an important race and the data vendor is not covering it, we can fill in that information as well.
And the stuff the data vendor wouldn't be covering right now, like you've got the federal races, you have the state races, you have congressional races, you have the propositions, but you're talking about specific tiny local races that they might not have the information for, and you can add that in if it's missing. But in general, people have a pretty solid ballot of what they have, and your grassroots volunteers research all these outside groups, these trusted local national organizations whose missions align with pro-democracy or liberal left causes like Planned Parenthood, Emily's List, Sierra Club, State Teachers Association, your local Democratic Club, people like that. And then you make a list of endorsements from those groups that then go with all the candidates that might be on your ballot.
Yeah, it's an enormous job. And when we
Undertaking.
Yeah, we thought, okay, we'll try California, and I thought, I don't know how we're going to do this. Then we realized the magic of spreadsheets, that we could input our data in spreadsheets and pull it into Blue Voter Guide. I went to Jason at Field Team 6. I said, we've got this thing we're going to do in California, and I think we can manage to get all the endorsers in for the races in California. And Jason said, that's great. Let's do all of our battleground states. Let's do 9 states in 2022. And it was like, oh my God. So I have a team of about 75 volunteers. They go to the candidate websites first, and they see who's endorsing different candidates. Then they click on those endorsers and follow them back to the endorser website. And then we vet the endorser to make sure that they fit our needs. And if the endorsements appear on the website of the endorser, then we pull those into Blue Voter Guide. At first, it was manual. It was really hard. We had to use the spreadsheets. But now our genius coder, Gerhard Engel, invented a tool that scrapes the endorser sites and just pulls in the candidate information automatically. There was no way in the world we could have done 50 states without this tool of being able to go to the endorser sites and pull in all the endorsers. But the team is really, really important because we have lots of decisions to make. We meet every 2 weeks and we talk about, different issues that come up around, do we really want to keep this endorser or not? Are they really what we want? And we also talk as much as possible. We coordinate with people on the ground in the states that we're in, and we have them vet the guide and say, is this making sense to you? Are these the right endorsers? Have we left anybody out? or is there someone there that shouldn't be there? So that's really helpful too.
I love what I'm hearing from you, because what you're saying is not only are we using coding and scraping websites and doing all the like tech stuff, but you have the human aspect in there too, where you're meeting with human people saying, do these people align with our values? Are they still keeping up with what they say they do? Do we want to keep them on the list? You've got the whole human aspect in there too, which is what most of us want when we're filling out ballots. We want to know that human beings are helping us think this through. They've done the research, they've done the background. It's not just, oh, Emily's list supports this person because they're a pro-choice Democrat. It's that this person's values align with my values, and I can safely make these decisions, knowing that I've made an educated choice. And then once you and your team have compiled all the information and it's uploaded onto the website, the voter has access. And I have to say, despite the fact that your website is already incredibly easy to use, you've also put together what I would call a terrific how-to video that really walks you through every step of your site in 5 minutes. And like, I have to tell you, people listening to my show know I'm a nerd for well-done websites and well-done how-to videos, because on top of you're trying to make voting easier for people, this video is less than 5 minutes. And it actually got me pretty jazzed to use the Blue Voter Guide, because you've really thought through all the ways a voter might want to make a decision, and you've included that on the site. It's like so simple to use, which I think is kind of the point, right? So let's walk people through the steps of using the site, right? You go to bluevoterguide.org, mobile or desktop, and you put in your address, like you said, and then what happens next? If the refrigerator revolutionized food storage and the dishwasher revolutionized food cleanup, Lomi revolutionizes food waste. So what is Lomi? Lomi is the world's first smart waste appliance that cuts your trash in half by transforming your food scraps into nutrient-rich plant food. If you listen to this show, then you have heard me rave about this machine before. All that food that goes to waste in your house, the leftovers, the things that die in your fridge, instead of putting them into a landfill, you can turn that food waste into plant food. In just 4 hours, Lomi transforms almost everything you eat into nutrient-rich plant food with the push of a button. It cuts your trash in half, eliminates bugs and odors in your kitchen, and if you really want to, you can feed it to your lawn or your garden as an all-natural fertilizer that you created with your own food. Plus, Lomi promises you the best possible experience, which is why they're one of the only kitchen appliances that has a full, no questions asked, lifetime warranty on all of their devices. And when you purchase a continued subscription, you automatically get upgraded to a new Lomi device every 3 years. Honestly, once I found out that food waste made up a huge portion of my family's personal carbon footprint, I was thrilled to reduce the amount of garbage I sent to a landfill. We have to do our part for the planet, and this is such an easy way to do yours. So whether you want to start making a positive environmental impact or just grow a beautiful garden, Lomi is perfect for you. Head to lomi.com/politicsgirl and use the promo code politicsgirl to get $50 off your Lomi. That's $50 off when you head to lomi.com/politicsgirl and use the promo code politicsgirl at checkout. Thank you, Lomi, for sponsoring this episode. You know I love you. Support for today's episode comes from OneSkin. Now that the holidays are behind us, it's time to focus on self-care, and that means taking care of your skin's appearance and its health. OneSkin makes it easy with their science-backed approach to healthier skin. I'm actually super excited to have started using this product. OneSkin products are powered by a scientifically proven peptide called OS1. OS1 targets fine lines and wrinkles right where they start, which is in our cells. So this isn't just a skincare routine, it's a science breakthrough. OS1 is actually the first of its kind to turn back the clock rather than just mask the signs of aging. OneSkin has combined tissue engineering, data analysis, and cutting-edge longevity science to create the world's most effective product to target skin aging. OneSkin believes that the purpose of skincare is not just to improve how we look, but to optimize our skin's biology so that it's more resilient to the aging process. It's next-level skincare. OneSkin has a full line of face, eye, body, sun, and travel products. They aren't just promising healthier skin, they're proving it. I've just started using their topical supplement for eyes. I have sensitive skin, and I'm pretty particular about what I put on it, but I have to tell you, so far I'm really liking the texture, how quickly it absorbs, and the smooth, taut skin that I'm starting to see. I mean, listen, aging is hard. You look at yourself in the mirror and you think, geez, what happened? It's a bit demoralizing. If OneSkin can perk me up, then I am all in. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company. By focusing on the cellular aspects of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. Honestly, who doesn't want that? So join me and get started today with 15% off by using the code PoliticsGirl at oneskin.co. That's 15% off at oneskin.co with the code PoliticsGirl. And after you purchase, when they ask you how you heard about them, please support the show and tell them that we sent you. New, healthier skin. That's OneSkin. Did you know that traditional bed sheets can have more bacteria on them than a toilet seat? That kind of bacteria leads to acne and allergies and stuffy noses. Not to mention it's just gross. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Miracle Made. Miracle Made offers a whole line of self-cleaning, eco-friendly bedding, such as sheets and pillowcases and comforters that prevent up to 99% of bacteria and require 3 times less laundry. Using silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA, the sheets prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresher 3 times longer than other sheets. Plus, the sheets are so luxurious and comfortable, but without the high price tag of other luxury brands. So stop sleeping on bacteria and letting your sheets clog your pores and give you breakouts. Sleep clean with Miracle. Go to trymiracle.com/politicsgirl and try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code PoliticsGirl at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. That's a great deal. And Miracle is so confident in their product that they have backed it with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, they're going to give you a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/politicsgirl and use the code PoliticsGirl to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/politicsgirl to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for continuing to sponsor this show. You go to bluevoterguide.org, mobile or desktop, and you put in your address, like you said, and then what happens next?
All right, so you click on Build Your Guide, there's a little button there, Build Your Guide, and it takes you to what we call the selection page. And now you're looking at all the races that we have, hopefully all of them for you. But if you live in Loma Linda, you might not see your city council race, but you'll see definitely every national race. You'll see all statewide races that you can vote in. You'll see your state legislatures and your state ballot propositions. And then for most people, you'll see your down ballot as well. And for every candidate and measure, and judge, you will see a list of endorsers. So you can look across immediately and see, oh, okay. And you can click on the endorser if you want to learn more about them and how they made their decision, why they're endorsing that candidate. You click through. You can also click through on the candidate and get more information about the candidate. Or you can just say, oh, this endorser, so Planned Parenthood supports this candidate. Done. I'm done. I'm going to vote for that candidate. So then you tick off that candidate and you go through your ballot that way. And it takes minutes, and it doesn't take you hours. We also have descriptions, very pithy, short descriptions of candidates. This is especially useful with obscure candidates. Say somebody is an election denier. We will help you out by putting that there under the candidate name in a little short description. Candidate is an election denier. Candidate, is against public schools or whatever is appropriate for that candidate. We put that information in as well. And for occasionally, we pull information in from Open Secrets about donations, what their percent of small donations is. That's only for people that have run for Congress. But it was a little thing we added. I wanted to add about money. There's another thing you can do. So you can go through your ballot that way. It's very easy to navigate. We've added a feature where you can pick the endorsers that you're interested in. If you're only interested in Planned Parenthood and Emily's List, you can filter by endorser, tick off those two, and then you can see a ballot that has just those endorsers. You can see all the candidates that are endorsed by those endorsers, and you can vote that way as well. So we've given you those options.
Yeah, so you can start with just the candidates and see who endorsed them, or you can start with the endorsers and see the candidates that they are behind.
Right, and then you're just gradually
Either
building
way,
up.
you can go back and forth between the two to make sure you're making the most educated decision, and you can always go back and reread it and make changes if you want to. But the site is very intuitive. It remembers the last choice you made, and you're
That's
kind
right.
of building your full ballot, right?
Right.
It
Yeah.
it filters by endorser, it filters by candidate, but you can also choose, like you're saying, groups you align with. Say you want to know who Black Lives Voter Guide does, or the Chinese American Democratic Club, or the
That's right.
DNC. You can
That's right.
say, tell me who these 3 groups are endorsing, and they will give me all the candidates on my specific ballot that are endorsed
That's right.
by those people. And then you just click the candidates and measures that group supports. I think honestly, people won't believe how easy your site is to use and how simple you have made it to be an educated and researched voter. I have to tell you personally, Wayne, I am so impressed with what you guys have done, what you guys have done with a volunteer organization, what you guys have done with just a pure love of democracy. And I'm so grateful because the website helps you find exactly what you're looking for when you're looking for it. If you've missed something, or you haven't clicked on someone, or you've missed a district court judge, you can just go back and the site will say, here are the ones that you're missing. And you're like, oh, okay. And you can go in and research who's endorsed them and what they stand for. Because often you find something that's like Proposition 28 or District Court Appeals Division 5. And you're like, what the heck is this? And it will tell you, so that you actually know what you're doing when you vote that. Once you're done, and every single thing is filled out on your particular ballot. Using this process, I think people are going to find it's pretty quick and painless. You click a button. It saves your whole voter guide. You can email it or text it to yourself, or you can print it up to help you fill out your mail-in ballot at home, or take it with you to the voting booth. And I think you guys even have an option that you can email your list to friends, like the ballot that you built to friends, or share it on social media to help other people fill out their ballot. That's a great idea.
Yeah. And when your father-in-law who lives 10 states away from you says, I don't know what I'm doing, you just go to Blue Voter, Lee, go to Blue Voter Guide and fill in his address, right? Put in his address. You'll see his ballot that he can vote for, and you can fill it out for him. And then when you're done on that last page, every guide that is created has a unique URL, and you save that and you just send that to him and say, here you go. Click on this. These are what I think you should vote for.
Yeah. These align with the values I know you have.
Right. Yeah.
If people aren't even registered to vote, they can do that directly from the site, can't they?
There is a link to Voterizer on the site. If you scroll down a little bit under the map, it says, are you registered? Do you need information? You click on Voterizer. It will take you to the Voterizer site, which is a Field Team 6 site. And Voterizer is a concierge site. It'll tell you what elections are coming up for you. It'll take you to the exact right page you need to be on of the Secretary of State of the state that you're in to do whatever it is that you need to do. Whether you want to decide you want to do mail-in voting, so you can, if the state does that, then you can get that going. And the thing about Voterizer, it actually does the same thing that Blue Voter Guide does. It puts itself in your shoes and solves your problems. So it doesn't require a ton of information. You don't have to fill out any forms or anything like that and say this, that, and the other. It's just, what do you need? Here's what you need. That's how Voterizer works. It doesn't vote for you. No website does that. You can't vote online directly. No, but you can sign up for it. You find out if you're registered, do all that with Voterizer. And then on the Voterizer site, there's a link that takes you right back to Blue Voter Guide when you need Blue Voter Guide.
So that you can build the ballot that you want to do.
You build the ballot that you want.
That's amazing.
So
I mean, honestly, Wayne, it's an incredible organization. And I wanted to have you guys on the show because you guys are essentially a brand new group. I mean, the medical field's loss is the political field's gain, as far as I'm concerned with you. So what can we do to help you grow and succeed? Because this is a brilliant organization that is really built on making democracy easier for everyone. And even after we, hopefully defeat this rising authoritarian movement in America in 2024, people are still going to need help with their ballot. This is still an organization that needs to grow and be supported over time. So what can we do to help you?
Okay, so the more people that use Blue Voter Guide, the higher it's going to drive turnout, and the more close elections we're going to be able to win. So the first thing is we want everybody to use Blue Voter Guide. And to use it, they have to know about it. So use it, share it, and tell other people about Blue Voter Guide. We want partner organizations that will tell people about Blue Voter Guide. We want them when they're out canvassing, like this group that's canvassing and giving out Blue Voter Guide postcards to potential voters. When GOTV comes, we want to give out stickers that have the Blue Voter Guide QR code on it. So we want to partner with organizations that are going to do that. If you can put us in touch with organizations that do that or tell us about them, we want to know about them, because we love it when the Blue Voter Guide banner is on somebody's homepage, right? So they just, it's right there. Say, you want to help with your voting, go here and do that. You can volunteer for Blue Voter Guide if you want. You can scroll down to the bottom of our homepage on the Blue Voter Guide site. There's a little button. There's a volunteer form, and you click on that, and there's it'll take you, well, it's a button. It'll take you to a form. You fill out the form, and we will get back to you and see if there's a fit for the things that we do back end on Blue Voter Guide. A lot of research, a lot of wonky stuff, social media, and also networking with other organizations as we try to increase our reach and meet with other partners. And then there's a donate button as well. We need to pay for that data. So that's really important. We're having our first big fundraiser on January 20th. It's called Ride the Guide. It's in Los Angeles. If you don't live in LA, you can still donate. And don't worry, no amount is too large. We have to pay for all this. We have to pay for all this data. No,
absolutely. You have to pay for it. At the end of the day, you're an all volunteer effort, but you still have to pay for things like all of the national data. Personally, I would love to see your team getting paid for this essential work, but I understand that right now it's happening by the selfless effort of people who really believe in democracy and are really willing to do this work. But we just want it to work better. You know, considering how fast you guys scaled up, the fact that you're able to be in all 50 states in 2024 really shows the power of grassroots organizations. And I think we want to make sure you have as big a team as possible to do this research. And obviously, as you said, you need more money because it continued to pay for the data, the election data, the national vendors, the stickers, the postcards, the things that you go out so that more people can know that voting doesn't have to be a huge, difficult process, right? It can actually be something that you can have faith that you did the right thing, that it was well researched, well organized, and that it was blip, blip in and out of your mailbox and filling out your ballot at home. I think what we need, like you said, is everyone using it and everyone helping promote it, because I think people are going to find that they're a hero around election time if they can give people a tool like yours that makes voting easier. So what we want people to do is go to the website, bluevoterguide.org. There is, like you said, a volunteer button. There's a donate button, and those things will really help move this forward. I really hope people will consider doing this because you guys are such a terrific organization. You're out here doing the work to make participation in our democracy that much easier. And I say it all the time, but our system has been made complicated on purpose because it keeps a lot of us out of the mix. And then we have people like you and your wonderful volunteers just thinking we can do better than that, and then actually making the moves to do better than that. And so I have to say, I want to thank you for joining us today, Wayne. I know you have helped at least 75,000 people in Blue Voter Guide's first year, but let's get that number to 75 million, right? Making voting easier is just a great way to turn out voters. And ultimately, this next election is going to come down to turnout. So we really need to do everything we can to help the system.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Lee. Vote fast, smart, and blue. And maybe it'll be even fun. It's kind of a fun site to use when you play with it. So
it is a fun site to use. He's not wrong. I'm telling you guys, bluevoterguide.org. You have to check it out. And let's make voting something we all want to do. And it doesn't feel like a burden. And it makes us feel like we're doing not only our civic duty, but what's right by the country, because we can see what happens when we don't vote.
Tell a friend. Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you so much. This was really fun, Lee. I love your show. I love your enthusiasm. And I love how you discovered Blue Voter Guide. As I already told you, you discovered it on the fly when you were interviewing Jason. It's just great. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
So that was Wayne Liebman, the founder of the Blue Voter Guide, reminding us that the non-voters won the last presidential election. People think their vote doesn't count, Or as Wayne says, they think their vote counts too much and they're afraid to make a mistake. Blue Voter Guide takes the burden out of voting. They do the research, they do the legwork, they show you who shares your values and then allow you to build a ballot you can be proud of. Once you start using the Blue Voter Guide, I think you're going to be like, where have you been all my life? We keep saying people need to do something to save our democracy. Well, Wayne did something, and we need to help him succeed. Go to bluevoterguide.org to volunteer or donate, and then use it to build your ballot. No one can sit out the next election. It might be our very last chance to vote if we do. I want to thank Wayne for joining us today, and you for caring enough about democracy to be here. Now go out and make the world a better place. Until next week. PG out. The Politics Girl podcast is written and performed by me, Lee McGowan, in partnership with the Midas Media Network, and produced and edited by Happy Warrior Entertainment. All rights reserved.